Hey folks, welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth. Today is Monday, November 2nd, the day before the US presidential election. And in today's video, we're going to discuss the huge run in the cannabis space today, even in the face of weakness with SPY and the overall broader market, and one day before the US election. So we'll take a look. This will be the final update before the election. Obviously, the final trading day is tomorrow, and they're just doing a great job pinning everything. Everything basically just closed sideways from what it was on Friday. So before we jump into the content, make sure to smash the like, shows me some support, and consider subscribing to the channel. So first, I wanted to just bring up something I found very interesting. So today is the day that we're supposed to have an asteroid head towards Earth. So there hasn't been any new information about this that I could see, but you can see here that Neil deGrasse asteroid, a refrigerator-sized space rock, is hurtling towards us at 40,000 kilometers an hour. And was supposed to be here on November 2nd, the day before the presidential election, but I haven't seen any updates on that, but I found it interesting, thought it was kind of funny. I'd mention that just in terms of timing, but apparently it's not big enough to cause harm and less than a % chance of hitting Earth. So just wanted to keep that in the back of your mind as well. Maybe we see the day isn't over yet, obviously, but hope everyone's safe out there and we don't see any catastrophes as a result of that. Next on the list, we had Trump threatening to fire Fauci in rift with the head of infectious disease, their infectious disease department. So he's basically been back and forth with Trump for the last couple of days and weeks, and we know that his stance on wearing a mask initially was, you don't need to wear one, but they only said that because they didn't want everybody to go out and buy up all the supply. They wanted to make sure that there was enough PPE and all that stuff for essential workers and whatnot. So there was some conflicting and some miscommunication there, but then Trump is still waging the war, and we'll see what comes of that if he remains in office, but might be a moot point if Biden ends up winning anyway. And on that topic, Trump remains within striking distance on Tuesday, thanks to his numbers on the economy. So Biden still has a lead, and you can see here 50% registered voters picking Biden versus 46% picking Trump. So it's going to be a tight race. And like I said, basically 24 hours, we should have a pretty decent idea, and it could take a few extra days into the weekend for us to get the results officially. But if you remember, I did a video earlier today at lunchtime for a mid-market update and midday update, and the same thing happened with Hillary and Trump's election. Everybody thought the numbers were pointing towards Hillary winning, and then we ended up seeing Trump come out as the underdog. So that could happen again. Just don't get too caught up in the pre-data, and we'll want to wait until we have the official word out, because there could even be some pushback from the Trump administration. Who knows? Maybe they refuse to leave office. We'll have to see if there's any civil unrest as well. We also saw that Boris Johnson said there's no alternative as England braces for another lockdown. So the Prime Minister warned there could be twice as many deaths over the winter as we saw in the first wave. On Saturday, he announced England would go into a 1-month lockdown lasting from November 5th to December 2nd. The UK recently passed 1 million confirmed cases, with deaths rising to 46,000, according to Johns Hopkins University. We also saw that US construction spending was up again, rising 0.3% in September, and US manufacturing activity posted 59.3% gain in October, despite increase in cases in many states. I think that was pretty much it. Oh, I also saw here that AMC is seeking a stock sale. So they're doing a round of fundraising of 50 million to fight off bankruptcy threats, and not looking good. And we could see more of this with, other businesses potentially falling in line as well and following suit. And bankruptcy may be a very popular word going into the 2021 year. So also saw that Air Canada's current CEO that's retiring in the first of the year of 2021, he's going to be joining Scotiabank's board. And this came weeks after him announcing retirement. So that's pretty much all I had in terms of economic data and news and events. We'll take a look at some SPY chart and some overall broader markets. So today we closed a bit of an indecision candle, not very clear, but did have a little bit of a lower wick, a little bit of a longer lower wick compared to the upper wick. And we did get the daily bounce underway, but bulls didn't even get to EMA 12. So wasn't a very impressive bounce on the daily. You can see that it was less volume than our previous green day that we had here back on the 29th. And burden of the proof was on the bulls today to come out of the gate strong and see how far of a daily bounce they could get, because the more space that they could create, the more space that would leave for a higher low. We also have this weekly support trend line to be watching here as well, which has held nicely. And we saw a support test of that the other day, last week. And then bulls bought the dip. But like I said, burden of proof was on the bulls today to show up and show us how big of a daily bounce they could get. And they didn't get very far, so that doesn't give them, could potentially still be a bear flag at this point. So let's just draw that out, fib retracement. So we'll draw it here from the high. So you can see here that we pulled back just above the 0.382 fib. So possibility of a daily bear flag remains intact. And if that were to be the case, let's just take a look at where we could expect a measured move. That could bring us down here to the 310 level, which I've been calling for a while now. Yeah, it's something that I've been highlighting. We said the 50-day moving the 200-day moving average was at 310. We also had the 50 weekly moving average at 311. And that daily, we're in a daily downtrend right now on SPY. So we could potentially get that bear flag and break 319 support. If that happens, we're also in a weekly downtrend, and we'll look toward the 310 level. And that's also a nice round psychological number to be looking for as well. So I could potentially see that happening tomorrow or into the end of the week. That's basically what I'm looking out for. But let me just reset this chart here. So on the hourly chart here, you can see that we had a bit of a higher low pre-market into a higher high, but then we faded into the end after the morning into midday. And then when the bulls showed up at the end of the day to defend that low of pre-market, but we'll want to change the hourly trend. In my opinion, I want to see it happen in regular trading hours to be confident that that the daily bounce is really underway. And that's what and again, I said that in the group today, we want to see hourly trend changes to be confident, because the move off the low here from 322, there was no hourly trend change. That move just came, bulls went almost 2% without an hourly trend change. So that was notable. I need to be looking out for some weakness today. And I'll bring up the QQQ chart as well, because we had some red flags today. And red flag on QQQ to begin the day was that we had a double top. And as soon as we double top, we also had Amazon. I mentioned this in my video earlier on today as well. Amazon right out of the gate was just weak as could be. And when QQQ was testing the double top, we saw that Amazon was breaking to a new low of the day. So we know that the QQQ bulls aren't going to get very far if one of the lead tech bulls, Amazon, isn't participating. And that's exactly what we saw. And then not very long after that, same thing, basically the same chart happened on Apple. Same type of just lower low straight off of that double top. So that was our clue that Amazon was weak. And like I said, SPY didn't change the hourly trend. We were coming straight off the low. And I knew to be looking for some consolidation into the beginning of the day. And like I said, Amazon and that double top gave us more confidence as well. But QQQ, same thing. We didn't change the hourly trend, and then we broke to a new low. So that's a red flag, not by much. We hit a low here on Friday of 267.07, and we hit 266.98. So essentially a double bottom there on the hourly, but could also be a type of head and shoulders forming here on the hourly as well with extended hours on. So keep an eye out for that pattern going into tomorrow, but we'll want to see hourly trend changes at the bare minimum to be confident that this move and daily bounce can still see some follow through tomorrow. And QQQ saved that with a double bottom. We broke it by a few pennies, but essentially an inside bar there on the daily as well. But that's what I would be watching. And I mentioned this as well today, but we're still watching this weekly head and shoulders on Amazon. We have a weekly head and shoulders on Microsoft, which is still intact. There's a lot of signs right now pointing to things trending lower, and I highlighted this as well today, but I want to reiterate that we still have this weekly descending triangle on gold, and today we got right up to that resistance line, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see a pullback here somewhere around the 1900 level, and we start to see some consolidation, because this pattern has been going on for weeks now, and I don't anticipate this changing anytime soon. We could have some news that might change it, but personally, I don't think we're going to break out of this unless it's news driven. But like I said, just keep an eye on this bear break here. If we lose the 1850 level, then that'll confirm a bear break, and then we'll look to the last weekly high or low down here at 1670. Personally, I'd love to load up at 1700 on gold, but that's pretty much all I have for you guys. We saw Bitcoin with a nice bounce after it's dumped from this morning, hit 13,200 on Coinbase, and currently trading at 13,645. So again, it's really going to be choppy, and I don't expect much movement going into tomorrow. I think everything's just going to stay range bound and basically going sideways. But taking a look at Apple as well on the daily. So Apple was very weak today, and a little bit of a doji indecision candle. Take a look at the hourly trend. So we did break to a new low, so no hourly trend change there on Apple as well. So we need those hourly trend changes to be absolutely confident. It's pretty much all I have in terms of indices. So we'll take a look at some MJ, because MJ was absolutely stealing the show again today. And maybe you know now why I've been bullish the Canadian MJ sector, because if you see these gains, we're looking at 20% on Aurora today, and you might be wondering why Aurora ran so much. It's because of names that get beat up so much and so badly in comparison to their peers. When the whole sector runs 5-10%, then you can see those names that get beaten up a little bit more than normal start to take the lead in terms of percentage gains. So I've been bullish on Canadian MJ for a while now, and I've been establishing positions. You all know this if you've been following this channel for a while. If you haven't, just search "Is it time to buy cannabis stocks" on my YouTube channel, and you will see that I've been highlighting that Canadian MJ. Obviously, US MJ had a big day today as well. Some names up 20%, 10%, 5%. So we did have a pretty big day. TrueLeave currently getting close to the all-time high, hit 32.90. So essentially 33, all-time high was 35, I believe. 35.08. So we're within striking distance, could be a cup and handle potentially as well. But obviously if Biden wins, we're gonna just shoot to the moon, in my opinion. I don't really think we've ran that hard into this. So you might be wondering if this is a sell the news event. I don't think so. Just because we cooled off after hitting a new all-time high. We're close to all-time high, and you don't want to fight blue sky breakout bulls because there's no resistance. We could easily shoot another 25 to 50%, in my opinion, if we start to see data showing signs that Biden is favored to win. But you can see here we got lots of support on the way up. We have the low, high, higher, low, higher, high. New support level here at 2363. We also have one up here at 2737, which was our last daily higher low. And now we have a new higher low confirmed here at 2909. So that's the most important short-term support, 2909 on the dailies. And we also have EMA 12 support on the lookout as well, but closed very strong today. And like I said, we have a nice base of support there on the daily. There's going to be a lot of support levels for the bears to crack through if we do see a sell the news event. So again, all the more reason why I'm leaning toward a bullish reaction if we see a Biden victory. But the daily just getting overbought and the weekly not yet overbought. So we could potentially see, you know, another leg up. I wouldn't be surprised if we got that, to be honest with you. And just taking a look at the daily volume here on TrueLeaf, you can see we surpassed the 20-day or 20 period moving volume average. So that's notable. But we are forming a little bit of bearish divergence here on the RSI. That's one thing I've noticed here is price is trending up while the RSI is trending down. So not a complete, you know, deal breaker by any means. No reason to be exiting any positions, but just something that you want to keep an eye out, as that does tend to give point to the in favor of the bulls. So taking a look at the Canadian MJ, let's take a look. So my top names in Canadian MJ have been Canopy Growth, Afria, Hexo, and Cron. And I've got a bunch of other tier 2 companies in my portfolio as well. But my main three are Hexo, Afria, and Canopy. And you saw today that Canopy up double digits. Hexo even saw a nice bounce from its low and its bearish reaction from the earnings. We heard about their reverse split, their 8-to-1 reverse split, but bulls certainly showing up. You can see we had huge daily volume on that earnings date as well here from Friday on the 30th. And today we did surpass the 20 period moving average in volume, and we had 21 million shares traded on Friday. Today we had 10.6 million. I think the average is around 6. So we're still over the average, and bulls certainly pleased to buy the dip, because like I said, we hit a low here in pre-market. It was 54 cents, but we're showing 58 cents without pre-market on or extended hours. So daily bounce did get underway, and we had a little bit of an upper wick. Let's take a look at the hourly. So the hourly, we do have some supports here on the hourly. And most important short-term support for me would be 60 cents psychological. But this could be a hourly bull flag here as well. And if that were to confirm, then we would likely look to a gap fill here at the 70 cent level. But essentially, I was looking to scale into Hexo. I had a pretty big position going into their earnings, and I had some SPY short, some QQQ short. So that offset a lot of my losses in Hexo. And then in the morning, I sold here on the bounce when we opened, and I ended up selling around the 63 cent level, and I sold all of my shares. And then whenever we held this double bottom here, that's whenever I entered, and I was going to use 58 as my a stop under 58. So I was going to set it at 57. But then we saw a nice bounce, and I sold around, so I bought it around 58, sold it around 61, made up for another 5% or so. And like I said, I had my hedge with SPXS and SQQQ, so short tech and the SPY ETF. And that made up for a lot of my gains. And I just day traded it a couple times today as well. Basically, regained all of the losses on Hexo, and I am swinging a position in Hexo, Cron, Afria, and Canopy going into tomorrow. Like I said, I was expecting hype, a run up into the election, and that's exactly what we got today. As you can see, the CGC bulls were just in full beast mode today. Hourly candle, higher low, every single candle for the entirety of the day. Even in after hours here, we're up 21.05, so we are up about 0.5% after hours. And we did have a little bit of an upper wick, but no major red flags. Hasn't even been any hourly consolidation yet. We'll know that the hourly consolidation is underway once we lose the 5-minute uptrend. We did technically lose the 5-minute uptrend, but we didn't confirm a downtrend here. We had a low of 20.89 and we had 20.87. So we did break it by 2 pennies, but no follow through. So I would consider that a double bottom. And to zoom out, we could even be looking at a 15-minute bull flag. So keeping that on watch, taking a look at the daily RSI, RSI not even overbought yet. So little bit of an upper wick there on the daily. We do have earnings on November 9th for Cannabis as well, but huge daily volume today. Absolutely massive. Match the volume back here on the 19th of October. But where's the sell volume at? There's essentially no sellers and tons of buying volume here. And so this is what gave me confidence swinging into tomorrow. And like I said, they're making it hard. A lot of people likely were waiting for an hourly higher low at the least for an entry today, and they never got it. And again, this was part of my plan. I knew that they were going to make this difficult. I knew they weren't going to make it easy. They were going to trap people and raise the, things would start to explode when SPY was going down. So today we had an inverse correlation with SPY. When SPY was trending down, QQQ and MJ just didn't care. Cannabis stocks continued to fight the trend and move higher. And like I said, people were expecting a move lower likely because of the market correcting, but we never got it. They're doing a great job preventing people from being able to enter and making them chase. And what I think is going to happen is into tomorrow's, we're likely going to gap up open, and SPY closed the day relatively well today. So we still are under the 10-week moving average. We're very bearish still on the weekly chart, but we did close above the 100-day moving average at 329.50. So we closed at 330.19. So that is bullish. And if we can continue the daily bounce tomorrow, then that's going to be positioned well for the CGC bulls. And like I said, we're starting to see a lot of hype and euphoria and interest back in the sector again, a lot of media coverage. We have a few states that are voting for legalization coming into tomorrow. So we're going to get a whole slew of information tomorrow with regards to the election and probabilities and whatnot. So make sure to stay tuned tomorrow. APHA, same deal, no hourly higher low, just a full rip your face off all day long. We did have a little bit of a higher low there on Cron. So I exited my Cron just over $6. It was like 603, I think. And I was waiting to see if we sold off fairly hard into the end of the day. I didn't anticipate that happening because, like I said, they didn't want to give retail the opportunity to get in. And that's probably what everybody was expecting. And then within about 3 minutes left into the end of the day, that's when I rebought again. And I'll be swinging that one as well overnight. But looking for a potential hourly bull flag and a gap up open into tomorrow, because I don't think the move is over yet, especially with Canadian MJ. It's very beat up compared to the US counterparts, which like Trulieve, very close to all-time high. Take a look at CGC. Is it anywhere close to the all-time high? Let's go here to the monthly chart. So CGC about 181% away from its all-time high. So, and again, because these are listed on major exchanges, more money can flow in and out easily. And look where we are here as well on the monthly chart. CGC has been rejecting from monthly EMA 12 resistance ever since it lost the all-time high. And we just finally broke out above that line and we closed well above it today. So very, very bullish in terms of EMA 12 resistance on the monthly. I do want to just bring up the 26 period here real quick. So we did top out at the 26 period. So that was notable. And tomorrow, first thing I'll be on the lookout for tomorrow is if we can get above that, that 26 moving average. So if we can get over $22, I'll add down, I'll double down on my position. And I'll be looking to hold that into tomorrow and likely into Wednesday. But hadn't closed above the EMA 12 resistance on the monthly since the all-time highs in 2018. And we closed above that. We broke to a new high. Monthly, we're not in an uptrend or a monthly uptrend yet. Well, I think we need a break, in my opinion, we need to break 22.19. So we have the low, the high, and then essentially just a sideways range looking for a monthly higher low. And I say, in my opinion, we need to break 22.19. We did break the previous high here, which was 1966, but in my opinion, we need to break over 22.19, and then that'll also bring into EMA 26 into play as well. So if we can get over 22.19 and EMA 26, then I'd say bulls are off to the races. And like I said, because these are listed on major exchanges, they're seeing more capital flow in, and it's just easier for them to inject millions and billions of dollars into this space without shooting the share price up and having to worry about over-the-counter tickers and that type of thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a gap up tomorrow. That's what I'm expecting. Huge daily volume. Let's take a look at the 5-minute chart. Not really that much sell volume into the end of the day. But I'm interested to see how we start tomorrow. Let me know in the comments below if you're swinging any MJ, what your game plan is into tomorrow. Are you planning to trim before the election tomorrow? Are you planning to hold overnight? Are you planning to sell all cash? Let me know what your game plan is. Personally, I'm going to be trimming. If we get over on CGC, that's going to be my main focus tomorrow. But if we can get over 22.19, I'll be watching 22. I'll probably enter a position if we get over 22, and then I'll enter another position if we get over 22.20, and I'll look to ride that position for most of the day tomorrow and see how big of a bounce we can get on the daily. Like I said, if we gap up, that might change things as well. We'll see how big of a gap up we get if we do get one. But again, still up after hours. So potentially I would look, ideal scenario would be a gap up and look to sell pre-market and then buy the dip and then look for a potential sell-off into the end of the day, because I do think a lot of people will, if we run up, it all depends how hard we run as well tomorrow, but we're up double digits today. And if we run another 5–10% tomorrow, that's going to increase the odds that we see more profit taking going into the end of the day tomorrow. And personally, I'll probably be in that boat of the profit taking scenario, because I'll want to de-risk a little bit and not give back any of these profits that I saw the last few days in the run up to the election. So that's pretty much all I have for you guys. I could sit here and spend another 20–30 minutes and review all of these tickers, but that's pretty much, we were also watching a daily head and shoulders on Canopy that could potentially have been forming, but we obviously negated that today. So we have earnings on the 9th. So again, that's keeping me a little bit on edge as well. I'd rather wait for my long-term position. I'm going to establish a position now like I did with Hexo prior to the earnings. But like I said, I'll want to de-risk a little bit going into the election, just ride basically the profits that I've made, take out my investment capital, and then I will probably hold that until we get the election results, and we'll see what kind of reaction we get from that. And then I'll look to de-risk again going into the earnings on the 9th of November. But I am expecting a strong earnings report from Canopy, because I do know that their deep space and their drinks are selling quite a lot, and a lot of people love their deep space. They're gonna have a full quarter under their belt with edibles and drinks, and they're forecasting, I think, about 119 million in revenue. So we'll see, but I think there's going to be a lot more positive earning reports coming out. Normally I don't play earnings. I may swing, like I said, some profits going through that, but that's essentially my game plan. Let me know in the comments below if you want any tickers covered, or if there's anything that you'd like me to clarify on. Also looking for some feedback if you want me to do a longer video on all of the, so I've got a watch list here of Canadian MJ, US MJ, tier 2, tier 1, tier 3, so many different tier levels of companies. There's a ton out there to be monitoring. So if you want me to do another video, just let me know in the comments below. I would be open to that. But for the sake of time, I'm going to end it there. Let's just take a quick peek at CGC on the weekly as well over here on stock charts. So we are well above the 10-week moving average. MACD and stochastic are just blasting off parabolic. And taking a look at the daily, we're well above. We could even be setting up for a golden cross here as well. Daily MACD just crossed bullish, huge bullish daily candle. And the 50 could be crossing through the 100 and the 200-day at the exact same time. If that does happen, watch out, because there could be some fireworks here going into the end of the week. But this is exactly what I've been talking about. Something was up with Canadian MJ, just came out of nowhere. I originally started to get interested back here whenever it was at the $13 range and $14. That's when I first started to scale in. And you can see here we're over $21. I mean, that's a huge, huge move just from the beginning of October. And like I said, just fairly easy to spot that coming a month before the election. CGC, very, very beat up compared to SPY, which was at all-time highs. And we were testing March lows on CGC. I just knew that that couldn't stay the way it was for much longer. And I knew that there would likely be some hype entering the building. And because CGC is the granddaddy of them all, the largest by market cap, it's listed on a US major exchange. This is easy for institutional investors to get money in and out. So again, now you finally understand why I've been bullish on the Canadian MJ sector, and congrats to the bulls. And if you are curious as to what we do on a daily basis, check out pursuitofwealthgroup.com or powgroup.ca. We run an online investment community where we have dozens of people in here who share ideas, that type of thing. We trade setups and share ideas, and the more eyes you have on the market, the better. So thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth. Again, let me know in the comments below if you have any feedback or any tickers that you'd like covered. Let me know what your game plan is going into the election. And another question, who do you think is going to win? Not to get political, but personally, I'm on the Biden train. So love to see Biden win, just because I'm an MJ activist and very, very pro MJ legalization, and would love to see it at the US level as well. So hope everyone has a great evening, and best of luck going into the trading day tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow for another daily market recap, and best of luck.